So, I'm gonna be winging this entire video. Yay! I guess we should get started talking about, the first character that I'm gonna be designing of this, I don't know how many part series. Odysseus. Oh, how we love our boy Odie, Dissy, whatever you want to name him. He is our traumatized boy, man, whatever you choose, and we love him or hate him for whatever reasons you may have. Anyways, in designing Odysseus, I wanted a sort of standoffish character. One that was not very, bubbly, but not one that was totally stoic either. Just one that was just there. Usually, sometimes trying to be heroic, but usually just standoffish when no one's not looking. For anyone who doesn't know, Odysseus is the captain of the ship that he controls, and he's also the king of Ithaca. He was the one who was inside the Trojan horse when leading the Greeks into war. Not into war, but leading the Greeks in the Trojan horse to know what they were supposed to do. To sabotage is the word, Troy. So yeah, in my version of Odysseus, he has PTSD he gets it much later, but he gets PTSD throughout the story, actually, from all his trials and errors. And he also has, this may be a little more controversial, but I also give him ADHD for multiple reasons that I can think of. Number one, he seems to be very, he's very decisive, but he's also very indecisive at the same time, is how I think of him. I don't know. He's just something. Other than that, I headcanon him. Oh my goodness, that was the wrong word to use. Editor, cut that out. But anyways, so this design of him that I'm designing right now is the design of him probably much later in the story, because at the beginning of the musical, I give him, he doesn't have those graying hairs, but during the end, during the Ithaca saga, he does have those graying hairs. So this must be from around the Wisdom saga through the Ithaca saga is this design of him. I might make more designs, like younger Odysseus, if anyone asks me to. My views on Odysseus is pretty something. I think he really, really loves his wife. And I think that's a core part of his character, and I do not blame him for loving his wife. His wife is very beautiful, and I would not blame him. And love is very strong, and I know I'm getting sort of emotional here, but I do not blame him for wanting to get back to his wife and loving her so much. What I do blame him for is, my goodness, what I do blame him for is not learning ruthlessness earlier. Now, this may be a little controversial, but hear me out. If he had killed the Cyclops, like Athena said, he wouldn't have had his falling out with Athena, he wouldn't have Poseidon after him, and, now don't quote me on this, a lot of the trials wouldn't have happened. Just think about it. Think about it. A lot of the trials wouldn't have happened if Odysseus had learned ruthlessness earlier. If he hadn't, now I'm sorry, Polites, but if he hadn't listened to Polites, then he would have killed the Cyclops. So yeah. And anything else that I can think of, so I gave him his red cloak, because I think his favorite color is red. And he has, this sort of, those feathers in his hair. That's what I'm thinking of. Those feathers in his hair are specifically they're from Athena, which when they first met, she gave him those feathers. So all my designs of Odysseus, young or old, are going to have those feathers in his hair, because he gets those feathers from Athena when they first meet, or when they become friends, essentially. And so those feathers are very sacred to him, and even after he has his falling out with Athena, he still keeps them, because he doesn't want to lose another thing that he loves, and what he loves is his friend Athena. Other than that, I can't think of much else to say about Odysseus. Other than that, I can't think of much else to say about Odysseus. I did give him an arrow highlight in his hair. I mean, not his hair, his eye, which symbolizes the arrow of the bow that Penelope uses, or that Penelope focuses the challenge for the suitors around in the Ithaca saga, and it symbolizes how Odysseus is the only one who can string the bow. So, yeah. So it symbolizes that. And I also give him lighter palms because he's sort of tan, but not that tan. And I also do giant waves and giant storms, because why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I? It's just so cute. It's just so, it's just so deliciously amazing and just fantastical. Wow. But anyways, that's it for Odysseus. Next one, we have your boy, Eurylochus. Yes, I know. A lot of you are either gonna pity him, or you're going to yell at me for saying a lot of the things I'm about to say. But, alright, Eurylochus. For anyone who doesn't know, Eurylochus is the second in command to Odysseus. I think he has trust issues, which is why he opened the wind bag, because he has trust issues from a lot of things. Now, this will play into his backstory. For right now, I'm actually going to research their backstories, and if they don't have any, then I'm going to make up my own, because why not? I also learned that he's the brother-in-law to Odysseus, because Eurylochus married Odysseus' sister. Now, I don't know how to pronounce her name. Clementine? I'm probably saying this totally off, but he married Odysseus' sister Clementine, so that means they're brothers-in-law. I also think he has order OCD, which order OCD is the syndrome where you need everything to be orderly, perfect, which is basically OCD, but there's different types of OCD, where everything needs to be orderly and perfect. Now, I think he has this because he thinks that everything needs to be perfect. I'm literally just repeating myself, aren't I? But he thinks everything needs to be perfect, and if it's not, then let's just go in and rate it all. as he says in the Troy Saga. But yeah. Now you're probably wondering, Astria, why are you giving him hair? Why are you giving Eurylochus hair? Why isn't he bald? I have a reason. Hear me out. I give him hair because, okay, I feel bad for making him bald is one reason. I've heard way too many bad things about him just being bald, and so I wanted to give him some hair, okay? And also, I think it'd be funny if when he and Odysseus fought, that Odysseus could like grab his hair, Eurylochus's hair, and also because I think that over time Eurylochus would lose his hair from like not stress essentially, but like would lose his hair more and more until eventually like right before he dies, he has like sort of he's like less hair. He'll just have less hair. Like to show like the stress and like how he's changed over time, which he hasn't changed a lot, but he's changed some. Alright, now time for the most controversial part. Oh boy, controversy. Isn't that our favorite epicans? Winians, whatever you want to be called. Okay, my views on Eurylochus. Oh boy. Eurylochus, my sad, tragic man. Why, just why did you have to open the windbag? Just why? Just why? But here's the thing. The windbag is not the reason. Opening the windbag was not the reason Poseidon came for them. Poseidon would have come for them eventually after he learned that his son was blinded. But the windbag had nothing to do with it. The windbag, in my opinion, had nothing to do with it. And I do not blame him for stabbing Helios's cows. He was starving. He was on the brink. But I also do blame him for it. Because why in the heck? Just why? Just why? Just. Hey, buddy, why? That's not very. It's not very good. But anyways, I do not actually have a lot to say about Eurylochus. I never draw him or talk about him a lot, and this is like me redesigning him, because my old version was just as bald as a lot of people's designs for him are. Just as bald. But I still gave him his lovely dark skin, lovely dark skin, and I decided to make his little cloth yellow because I was thinking, well, to make him different from Polites and Odysseus, since they're both gonna have red themes, why not give Eurylochus an orangish, yellowish theme? So I gave him that. And one thing I think is very sad is, what about Clementine when Odysseus comes home? Like, she's gonna be, Odysseus, my brother, your brother. Oh my gosh, my husband, where is he? And Odysseus just gonna be like, my sister, I'm sorry, he did not make it. And Clementine's gonna be like, Odie, I trusted you. I want my husband back. And it's just gonna be like that. And I think it's just very sad. Like, Clementine's gonna be like grieving for her husband. And she might even be mad at her brother if he ever has the courage to tell her what he did, which he had the courage to tell Penelope. So I'm sure he'd have the courage to tell his sister, but then his sister might get mad at him. Probably will get mad at him. I don't know much about Clementine, but would get mad at him or disappointed or sad. And that's just sad in itself. I just feel bad for her. And she's not even a character in the musical, but I just feel bad for her. Like, she wants her husband. That's all she wants. She wanted her brother too, obviously, but she also wanted her dear husband. And when he did not come home, that could have just broke her heart. But anyways, alright, for the final character we'll be designing today, it is none other than your boy, Polites. Polites, my dear, lovable, optimistic boy, or man, whatever. Polites, my favorite little boy. He is, if you don't know, Polites is Odysseus' best friend. Odysseus saved Polites. If you listen to the cut song Your Light, Odysseus saved Polites from the boar that Athena sent, which I think strengthened their relationship and made their relationship stronger. So as for headcanons about Polites, I think he has, now correct me if I'm wrong, but he has Pollyanna syndrome. Pollyanna syndrome is the syndrome where you're overly optimistic to the point where it's stubborn and it's basically like just like avoiding the bad things is how optimistic it is. I also think that even though Odysseus loves his wife very, very dearly, as we can see in the musical, very loves his wife, I think while Odysseus was on the ship with his crew, I think that Polites sort of acted like a second Penelope to him. One he loved more platonically than romantically, but like a second Penelope to him was someone he could talk to about his like feelings or whatever. Someone he could trust. And I think that made it also broke his heart when he, well, I'd say it cracked his heart a little. It cracked his heart a little when Polites broke. I mean, when Polites broke. When Polites died. Well, his bones broke, but, you know, he turned into a pancake. So I think that cracked his heart when Polites died. It cracked his heart. And over the course of time, now this is more about Odysseus than Polites, but over the course of time, Odysseus' heart cracked more and more until finally, when he finally saw Penelope, it cracked in two. Just perfectly in two. But back to Polites. So, Polites, my dear, dear boy. So, I gave him his iconic bandana, which is going to be this sort of pinkish red color that you'll see later. It's going to be sort of pinkish red color to change it up from Odysseus' just plain red. Now, I also gave Polites a little beard, as he always gets, and he also has, like these lots of straps, shoes, sandals, because just the design is pretty like that. I also gave Polites his tan skin, because we all love tan Polites. He's just so delectable. My views on Polites. Now, this is going to be a little controversial, but hear me out. Again, if Polites hadn't asked the Lotus Eaters for a second option, they would have just gone to another island. Sure, some of the crew members might have starved, but we could have avoided 528 men dying. 528 men. We could have avoided Poseidon's wrath. We could have avoided all of this. Like, why would Circe even send them to the underworld afterwards? Well, she probably would have sent them into the underworld, but why would Odysseus wouldn't have even seen any of his crew if, and then they would have all gone home if Polites hadn't sung open arms. Well, sure, he could have sung open arms, but if he hadn't asked the Lotus Eaters for a second option, then they wouldn't have given him a second option, and they would have just gone to another island. I'm sorry, Polites, I love you so much, but please save your optimism for another day. Just for another day, buddy. Just for one day. Other than that, Polites is pretty cool. I like him. Now, I give him some scars because I feel like some people forget that he fought in the war too, you know? And I give all my epic the musical characters scars except for the gods, but I guess we'll have to see that when I redesign all the gods. So yeah. I guess we're just gonna have to see. We're just gonna have to see, guys. We're just gonna have to see. Other than that, I can't think of much else about Polites I can say. Oh, but I do headcanon him one more thing. When they went to Lotus Eaters Island, Polites snuck a Winion, or Lotus Eater, I guess, snuck a Lotus Eater with him onto the ship, and when Odysseus found it, let's just say he was not happy. But he did let Polites keep it, and so when Polites died, Odysseus saw the Winion, and he decided to keep it. And so, or Lotus Eater, sorry. He decided to keep the Lotus Eater with him, and he kept it all the way till the Ithaca saga. And I think that's how he holds on to Polites as a person. He loves Polites so much as his best friend that he wanted to keep something of Polites to stay with him all the way until he found his wife again. And that's what makes it beautiful. So overall, I had really fun making these designs, and I think the characters turned out really well for how I wanted them to go. You may notice that Odysseus and Eurylochus have some scars that I didn't show before. That's just because I forgot to add their scars from the war, and so I put those scars in. So overall, it was really fun, and I think I'm going to do the other mortals next. And yeah, that's it. Bye-bye.